Chapter 8. Mr. Morrison seated us at the picnic table and went inside to fix lemonade. I told him I wasn't thirsty, but he set a frosty glass down in front of me anyway. "Where do you live, Diana?" he asked again in a friendly way. "Oh, not very far." I stirred the lemonade with a straw. The ice cubes bumped against each other. "In that group of houses across the highway from the farm gates?" I glanced at Lisa and nodded. The ice cubes were miniature icebergs, the kind that sink ships in the Arctic Ocean. "Lisa's bike was stolen the night we moved in," Mr. Morrison went on. "A brand new blue mountain bike, too. Too expensive to replace, unfortunately. The police thought teenagers from your neighborhood might have taken it. Apparently, theft is a problem on the farm." "I don't know anything about that, sir." I made a special effort to remember my manners, but I didn't dare look at Lisa. What if she told her father who stole the bike? "Georgie and I only play here in the daytime," I went on, lying, praying Lisa would say nothing. "I know it's private property, but we love the woods." Mr. Morrison shrugged. "As long as you don't go into the old house, it's fine with me." Keeping my head down, I ran my finger over the initials Georgie had carved into the tabletop. "I'm not allowed to go in there," I said, telling the truth at last. "That's good." Mr. Morrison paused to light his pipe. "It's not safe. The floors are in bad shape, and the cellar's full of snakes. Copperheads, someone told me." "And it's haunted," Lisa put in. "The old lady who used to own it died in the house. I'd love to see her ghost. Wouldn't you?" Mr. Morrison laughed, but I didn't see anything funny about Lisa's question. If Miss Lillian chose to show herself, I doubt my new friend would enjoy the experience. "Don't look so solemn, Diana," Mr. Morrison said. "Trust me, there's no ghosts in that house. Snakes and spiders and mice, squirrels, bats, but no ghosts. I guarantee it." Lisa leaned toward her father. "One of those policemen thought—" Mr. Morrison shook his head in exasperation. "Oh, for goodness sake, Lisa. Only ignorant people believe in ghosts." Lisa gave him a look I remembered giving my dad from time to time. "You don't know everything, Dad." If I dared, I'd have agreed with her. Mr. Morrison definitely didn't know everything, but neither did Lisa. Mr. Morrison smiled and fidgeted with his pipe, which must be one reason people smoke. It gives them something to do while they think of what to say next. Changing the subject completely, he turned his attention to me. "Why aren't you and your brother in school today?" The question took me by surprise. For a moment, I was speechless. "We don't go," I started to say, and then checked myself. "We're homeschooled. We finished early today." "Just like me," Lisa said with a smile, not realizing that she herself had given me the idea. Before I'd heard her and Mr. Morrison talking about her lessons, I'd never known of such a thing. Well, that launched a slew of questions from Mr. Morrison that I could only answer in the vaguest way, but he didn't seem to suspect anything. He smiled and puffed on his pipe, blowing a smoke ring or two to entertain us. We ended up talking about books we loved: Oliver Twist and Treasure Island, Great Expectations and Kidnapped, Jane Eyre, Wuthering Heights, The Call of the Wild, Jungle Books, and of course Lassie Come Home. I was the only one, however, who'd read Clematis, so I promised to lend it to Lisa, who never even heard of it. "It must be an old book," Mr. Morrison said, "probably out of print." "Yes," I said, "it was written a long time ago, but it's a good story." At last, Mr. Morrison went inside to work on his own book. A mystery, he said, which he hadn't quite solved. Lisa and I remained at the picnic table, but Macduff climbed the steps and pawed at the screen door. Mr. Morrison let him in. A few moments later, the computer keys began their soft clickety-clack, clickety-clack. Lisa looked at me. "You haven't drunk your lemonade." I pushed the glass away. "Oh, I told you I wasn't thirsty. In fact, I don't even like lemonade." "You should have told Dad. He would have brought you a soda instead." "I'm really not thirsty," I replied. I knew I should say something more, but what? I'd forgotten how to put words together in a clever way, to be funny, to be interesting. Worse yet, I had so many secrets. What if I said something that gave me away? Fortunately, Lisa was very talkative. In fact, the less I talked, the more she said. She told me about all the places she lived before coming to the old Willis place. Clearwater, Florida, had been her favorite. She'd swum every day and walked on the beach and collected seashells and pretty stones almost as clear as glass. "Why do you move so much?" I asked her. Her face suddenly serious. Lisa fidgeted with a splinter of wood jutting up from the table. "After Mom died," she said slowly, "Dad quit his job and sold our house. He takes part-time jobs so he can write. We stay in a place just long enough for me to get used to it, and then he's off again." Lisa sighed and rested her chin in her hands. "I wish we could live in a nice little house somewhere. I'd love to go to school like other kids, make friends, live a normal, ordinary life." Me too. I spoke with more feeling than I'd meant to, or should have. Lisa raised her head and looked at me sharply. "Why do you say that? You're not stuck on the farm like me. Even if you're homeschooled, you must have friends in your neighborhood." Instead of answering, I ran my finger around the initials I'd carved long ago on the picnic table. D-A-E. Diana Alice Eldridge. Right next to Georgie's initials. Being stuck on the farm. My brother and I knew a lot more about that than Lisa did. "I'm not allowed to be seen with other kids," I told Lisa, rather pleased with the way I'd worded my answer. "I'm breaking the rules just sitting here with you." Lisa stared at me, clearly shocked. "Your parents don't let you have friends?" I lowered my head and went back to tracing my initials on the tabletop. Lisa must have thought I was very strange. A girl whose parents didn't allow her to have friends. How peculiar. How bizarre. How weird. Before I had time to think of an explanation, Lisa leaned toward me, her face solemn. "Do you belong to one of those weird religions? A cult? Is that why you can't associate with other kids, or go to public school, or wear ordinary clothes?" Even though I wasn't sure what she meant, I nodded. Let her think what she liked about my parents, and their weird religion. As long as it stopped her from asking questions, I didn't care. "I bet they don't let you watch TV or go to the movies." Lisa leaned across the table, smiling sympathetically. They probably don't allow you to wear jeans either, or drink sugary stuff like lemonade." "The rules are very strict," I said. "You and I will have to be secret friends." Lisa grabbed my hands and squeezed them tight. "Secret friends forever," she whispered solemnly. "Your parents will never see me, never know about me, I promise." I let my hands stay in hers till she let them go. It was like being with Jane again, holding hands and sharing things. I wish I could tell Lisa everything about me, but I didn't dare begin. How could I explain things I didn't understand? For a while neither of us spoke. That was nice too. The quiet between us, disturbed only by birds singing. Overhead, the autumn breeze tugged more leaves from the trees and sent them spiraling slowly down around us, yellow and red, as quick as little fish gathering in pools. After a while, Lisa smiled at me, cheerful again. "What's your favorite color?" "Blue, green, no, red, I don't know. I love them all." "Mine's purple," she grinned. "How about your favorite food?" "Mint chocolate chip ice cream." No hesitation this time. My mouth watered at the memory of double-dipped cones on a hot summer afternoon, sticky and cold and sweet. "Mine's pizza with double cheese and meatballs." Lisa asked a few more questions. Favorite book, Lassie Come Home for both of us. Favorite candy, Hershey's chocolate almond bars for both of us. Favorite baseball team, the Baltimore Orioles for her and the New York Yankees for me. Lisa paused to think. "Who's your favorite actor?" Easy, I thought. Roy Rogers. Georgie and I have seen him just about every movie he's ever been in. Lisa stared at me as if I were crazy. "Roy Rogers isn't a movie star, it's a fast food place." "Roy Rogers is so a movie star," I said, puzzled by her ignorance. What kid didn't love Roy Rogers? How could she confuse him with a fast food place, whatever that was? "His wife is Dale Evans," I went on. "She's in his movies, too. He rides a horse named Trigger, a beautiful golden a beautiful golden horse. This funny old guy, Gabby Hayes, is his sidekick. Sometimes he sings cowboy songs. Surely you've seen his movies. I stopped, embarrassed by the expression on Lisa's face. Don't you like westerns? She made a face and shook her head. They have too much shooting in them. Dad loves Clint Eastwood, though. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Hang 'em high, a fistful of dollars. He watches them over and over again. But Clint Eastwood doesn't sing cowboy songs. It was my turn to stare at Lisa. Who was Clint Eastwood? And just how many years had gone by since Georgie and I had watched Roy Rogers gallop across the desert, chasing cattle rustlers or claim jumpers? More years than I wanted to think about, certainly more than Lisa would believe. Georgie was right. I never should have gotten the two of us into this situation. What had I been thinking? I looked toward the woods uneasily. It was late afternoon now, and the air had the chilly edge of fall. Georgie was probably hiding somewhere, too mad to go home. I hated for him to be away after dark. The shed was lonely at night. I'd better find my brother, I said, anxious to leave before I said any more dumb things. Why was he so mad at you today? She asked. He doesn't want me to be friends with you, I said, because... I know, Lisa interrupted. He's scared your parents will find out and punish you. I ran my fingers around my initials again. If only I were an ordinary girl like Lisa, uncomplicated, with no secrets. Lisa jumped to her feet. Let's go find Georgie together, she said. I want to talk to him. I looked up, surprised by her sudden interest in my brother. Why? Lisa shrugged. Maybe if he gets to know me, he'll like me, and then he won't be mad anymore, and we can all be friends. I wish things were as simple as Lisa thought. Reluctantly, I led her down a deer trail into the woods, one of Georgie's and my favorite's paths. We saw 3 or 4 does and the albino stag flash through the trees ahead, sunlight dappling their flanks. Lisa watched them vanish, delighted for even a glimpse. It's like magic here, she said, an enchanted forest where anything can happen. I looked around, trying to see the familiar woods as Lisa saw them. I'd been here so long I'd gotten used to the trees and the deer, the shadows and sunlight, the slow turn of the years from season to season. I smiled. Lisa was certainly right about the farm and its woods and fields. Anything could happen here. End of chapter 8.